Hey Arnold, Return of the Sewer King by Craig Bartlett. Chapter 1. I'm so hot, said Harold. He slumped even lower on Arnold's front stoop. We're all hot, Harold. Not a whole lot we can do about it, said Arnold. He sat at the top of the steps, holding damp, sticky playing cards. Go fish, he said to Gerald. Arnold's friends were gathered on his front stoop. Used to be when it got this hot, they opened up a fire hydrant for us kids to play in, Stinky whined. Why not today? Sid wiped his forehead and repositioned the backwards baseball cap on his head. There's something weird going on with the water system. It's like the water just disappears for a while every night. You got that right, Helga said, scowling. She leaned against the bottom of the stoop banister, her pink hair ribbon looking less perky than usual. Last night, my mom ran the washing machine real late. In the morning, the clothes were still full of soap. The machine had quit working in the middle of the job. When she saw it, she gave up and went back to bed. How come the water goes off? Asked Harold. No one's figured out why, said Gerald. Just then, Grandpa walked up. What are you kids doing? Lying on my stoop like a bunch of 3-day-old funeral lilies. Clear the way. You're a fire hazard. He waved a newspaper at them as he trudged up the steps. Arnold spotted the big headline at the top of the page as Grandpa passed him. City leaders stumped by midnight water stoppage. Hey, Grandpa, can we borrow your paper? He asked. Sure, short man. And then go do something useful. I gotta rinse my dainties before the water goes off again. Grandpa clumped into the boarding house and shut the door. Arnold scanned the newspaper story. Anything in the article that explains why the water goes off? Asked Gerald, looking over Arnold's shoulder. They still don't know, said Harold. But it does say the mayor has ordered all city fountains to be turned off. Well, that stinks, Helga muttered. Arnold stood up. Come on, let's go down to the city pool before they close that too. 10 minutes later, they stood in front of the city pool, staring at a sweaty city employee posting a newly lettered sign. City pool closed. All of them groaned. Closed? Yeah, closed, the employee grunted. The mayor says no pools, no fountains, and no fire hydrants, except for emergencies, till they figure out what's going on with the city's water. The kids trudged back to Arnold Street, where they found several of the neighbors standing outside of Mr. Green's butcher shop watching TV, which Mr. Green liked to keep in front of his shop on hot days. Naturally, the neighbors were watching the news about the water shortage. What do they say, Mr. Green? Arnold asked. The butcher turned from the TV and shrugged. They think there might be some kind of blockage, but they can't explain why the water always goes off exactly at midnight and then comes back on 1 hour later. The kids crowded around the TV. Harold wiped some sweat off his brow. Look, it's Mayor Dixie, he said. On the TV, Mayor Dixie stood at her official podium, looking tired and cranky. Our city's water mystery will soon be solved. I've sent for a team of crack water system investigators from the FBI to come and get the job done. The FBI? Cool, said Sid. Mayor Dixie continued. They are known as the sewer gators. They will investigate every foot of pipe until they find the problem and fix it. And what do gators have to do with sewers? Stinky asked. It's just a dumb urban legend, Helga snapped. Some idiots believe that alligators actually live in the sewers of big cities, feeding on rats and garbage, never seeing the light of day. Willikers, Stinky exclaimed, wide-eyed. Helga snorted, rolling her eyes. And Arnold's pigs can fly too, Stinko. I know it sounds crazy, but it's fun to think about, Arnold said. Yeah, Gerald agreed. Maybe alligators are behind the water stoppage. Alligators, please, Helga said. I think the heat is getting to all of you. Arnold ignored Helga. He was suddenly remembering something. He turned to Gerald. I don't see how alligators could be responsible for this, Gerald. But I know a certain sewer resident that could be. The two exchanged a glance that was full of meaning. The Sewer King, breathed Gerald. Of course. Chapter 2. The what king? Asked Helga. No one could believe their ears. Gerald hesitated. Forget about it. Aw, come on, tell us, Harold insisted. Tell us, Gerald. As keeper of urban legends, it is your sacred duty, Sid said. Well, I can, Gerald said, glancing at Arnold, but it's no legend. This actually happened to Arnold and me. Stinky and Sid leaned in closer. We've never told anyone before because we didn't think anyone would believe us, added Arnold. Oh, cut the suspense and just get on with it, said Helga. Arnold slowly nodded to Gerald, who stood up and cleared his throat. Once, not too long ago, he began, Arnold and I descended into the sewers. We were looking for his grandpa's watch. What we found was a huge tunnel system with streams and rivers going in all directions. Darkness, rats, and the smell. Hoo-wee! We found the watch, and much more. We also found the Sewer King. The Sewer King, huh? Who elected him king? The cockroaches? Sneered Helga. He appointed himself, I guess, Gerald said. Anyway, he lives down there. He rules over the rats and the cockroaches. He never comes out. He was planning to keep Arnold and me as his royal rat groomers. He almost kept us too, right, Arnold? Right, Arnold said. Only we made it to a sewer opening just in the nick of time. When we got the lid open and the Sewer King saw the sunlight, he let out this awful scream and ran away. Back down to the depths of his underground kingdom, never to be heard from again, finished Gerald. Unless, said Arnold. He looked at Gerald. Unless he's the one who's behind the stopped-up water problem, Gerald said slowly. I'm confused, fellers. You're saying it ain't alligators? Stinky asked. A great sob suddenly escaped from Harold. Please don't talk about alligators anymore, please, he cried. Oh, what now, you big baby? Helga rolled her eyes. There aren't any alligators in the sewer. It's just a story. I'm not afraid of alligators. Stubby. My little Stubby. Harold burst into a fresh flood of tears. Arnold turned to Sid. What's he talking about? A pet alligator he used to have, said Sid, speaking loudly so that he could be heard over Harold's sobbing. My Uncle Stanley. He lives in Florida, and he runs an alligator farm there. He sent me Stubby a couple years ago, Harold said, sobbing. He was about 6 inches long, and he had a little stub for a tail, added Sid. Exactly 6 inches. I used to measure him with my ruler. Harold brightened a little at the memory. My uncle couldn't use him for the farm with his stubby tail, so he let me have him. I fed him little pieces of hamburger. He knew his name. He came when I called him. He loved to have his belly rubbed. I'd yell, "Roll over for a tummy rub, Stubby," and he'll roll right over. Harold's face crumpled, and he burst into fresh tears. "What happened to him, Harold?" Arnold gently asked. But Harold couldn't answer Arnold. He was sobbing so hard. Harold took Stubby for a swim in the big fountain at the park. Stubby went under the water and never came up again, Sid finished for him. Helga waved her arm annoyed. "All right, enough alligator stories. What about your sewer king?" she demanded of Arnold and Gerald. "Are you losers going to find out what he knows about the water stoppage?" Gerald shook his head. "I don't think that's a good idea. That dude is dangerous." "We had better try to find him," said Arnold quietly. "What?" Gerald yelped. "If anyone knows what's going on with the city's water, it's him, Gerald. Besides, with those FBI guys coming, he could be in big trouble." Helga smirked. "Go on, football head. Find your mythical sewer king for us before we all dry up and blow away." Arnold looked at Gerald and asked, "Tonight? At midnight?" Gerald gave him a weak smile. "Okay, but I've got a feeling I'm going to regret this." Chapter 3. Late that night, Gerald knocked 3 times and let himself into Arnold's attic room. "You brought the map. Great." Arnold took it from Gerald and spread it out on his bed. Gerald looked uncomfortable. "Yeah, but, I was thinking maybe we should rethink this whole thing." "Rethink what?" "Arnold, I don't think that map is going to be much help if we need to make a quick exit. Especially if that weird guy chases us again. He was totally creepy, remember?" "Why do we want to go looking for him?" "To solve the mystery, Gerald, so the fountains and the hydrants can be turned on again." "Oh, yeah." Gerald looked unconvinced. "So my grandpa doesn't have to go to bed with his hands stuck together because there was no water to wash with," Arnold continued. "Stuck together?" "He was putting up wallpaper." "At midnight?" "Yeah, well, you know Grandpa. And Gerald, I've been thinking about Sam. I'm worried about him." "Sam?" "You know, the sewer king." Gerald rolled his eyes. "I didn't realize you two were on a first-name basis." "I hate to think what might happen to him if those FBI sewer gators find him. We ought to at least warn him, so he can hide or something." "Arnold, it's real hard for me to feel worried about a lunatic who was ready to draft me as a permanent royal rat groomer." "I know it's nuts, Gerald, but he needs help. Obviously he has no one, and this time we need his help too." Gerald sighed. Okay, I'll do it. Let's just get it over with." They surveyed the equipment spread out on Arnold's bed. 2 flashlights, a map, Gerald's watch, and a ball of string. Gerald poked the string. "What's this for?" "To mark our path. We tie one end near where we go in. Then we unwind the string as we go. That way, we can follow the string all the way back when we're done." "I'm looking forward to that part," said Gerald. Together, they put the supplies into their pockets. "Almost midnight, Arnold." "Okay, let's go." Arnold and Gerald tiptoed down the stairs. Slowly and carefully, they opened the creaking front door. They looked around the deserted street. "Where did we go in?" asked Gerald. Arnold pointed to a manhole covered with a recessed handle. "I already looked in. There's a ladder inside that goes straight down." They pried open the cover and slid it over to expose the tunnel. They peered down the inside. "It's really dark down there, Arnold." "That's why we got flashlights, Gerald." Arnold lowered his feet onto the ladder and started climbing down. After just a few steps, Gerald couldn't see him anymore, but he could hear Arnold's feet on the iron rungs that were set into the wall. Then the footsteps stopped. "You coming, Gerald?" Arnold called. "Yeah, I'm coming," Gerald said, and he too started down the ladder into the darkness. Chapter 4. The ladder seemed endless, but Arnold's foot finally touched solid ground beneath the final rung. He turned and shone his flashlight into the darkness. Ahead was a large, round, stone-lined tunnel with a stream of dark water flowing down its center. There were other tunnels branching off from it in the distance. Arnold tied one end of the string to the ladder and whispered up to Gerald. "You okay?" Yeah. Keep your shirt on," Gerald grumbled as he jumped off the last rung. He sighed. "Let's get this over with, Arnold." "Okay, just don't trip on the string." They started off down the tunnel, walking on either side of the stream. Gerald ran his flashlight beam over the walls and ceilings as they walked. "Hey, Arnold, I keep seeing little eyes looking at us, and when I look again, they're gone. It's probably your imagination, Gerald. Or else it's just the rats." "Oh yeah, just the rats." Gerald shifted over to Arnold's side of the stream. They walked on. The smell in the tunnel was nasty, and the air was thick and still. "Hey, Arnold, you think the stream is getting narrower? Or is that my imagination too?" "No, you're right. It is getting narrower. And the water is moving slower than it was. I wonder what that means." As they walked along, the water slowed to a trickle and stopped. Up ahead, Arnold and Gerald could see a large opening in the tunnel. There was a dimly lit open space on the other side. As they approached, they heard the sound of water sloshing against stone walls. Gerald checked his watch. It was almost 1 o'clock in the morning. He showed the time to Arnold, who nodded and put his finger to his lips. They turned off their flashlights, crept up to the opening, and peered in. In front of them was a huge underground chamber with high, stone-lined ceilings and arches. The room was completely flooded with inky water that flowed into a giant black pool. Arnold and Gerald watched the water, noticing little waves and ripples moving over its surface. "Hey, Arnold, why is the water down there moving so much?" "Maybe there's a current." "Gerald, look at the water level. It looks like it's going down. And fast. See? It's running out that tunnel over there." Gerald pointed to the far side of the pool, where water was rushing into a large tunnel like the one they had just come out of. Then they noticed a movement on that side and spotted a large human shape standing by another tunnel opening. It wore a hard hat with a headlamp on it, a long flowing cape, and held a stick that looked like a toilet plunger. "The Sewer King," Arnold whispered. Chapter 5. "It is the Sewer King. What's he doing?" asked Gerald. He seemed to be watching the pool near his feet. In the darkness, Gerald and Arnold could make out some dark shapes of animals climbing out of the water and going down the tunnel next to him. The Sewer King spoke to them as they went by. "Very good, my lovelies. You must be hungry. Time to return to the royal chambers." And then suddenly he was gone, his cape sweeping after him as he disappeared down the tunnel. Gerald and Arnold couldn't move until the water stopped draining out of the enormous pool and its surface settled to an oily smoothness. "The water stopped draining. Let's follow him," Arnold said. "What? Are you crazy? There's no way to get over to that tunnel he went down." "I bet we can cross the pool now," said Arnold. "It looks like it might be pretty shallow." "I am not stepping into that water. Who knows how deep it is?" "Well, what are we going to do? We found Sam. Now we need to go talk to him." "We found him, Arnold. but then we lost him. We'll just have to come back a little earlier next time and try to talk to him when he comes to this room again. Maybe you're right. At least we figured out where to find him between midnight and 1 o'clock. Great, Arnold. Mission accomplished. Now let's get out of here. Okay, we'll come back tomorrow night. I think I would prefer talking to Sam from his side of the water anyway, Arnold said. But he might as well have said it to himself, because Gerald was already rolling up the string and headed back down the tunnel. To be continued.